Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Warahmatullahi.
Oh, Ahmad, ada lagi Amir dengan Lukman Hafiz.
Ya saya.
Ya saya.
So, you from UTM, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
With
So,
host
I
from
heard that
UTEP.
you has been told me that you have WhatsApp, that you have gone interview about the engineers, one of the engineers of the company. So, I'm Muhammad Akmal Iman from Julius Biscuit, which is Julius Biscuit Enterprise was at Jalur Gajah, Melaka. So, do you have been heard about the Julius Biscuit?
Yes, we have some a few question for you, sir.
Okay, so what's
Luman,
the question?
Luman will tell 5 question and another 5. Me myself will ask you. So Luman will start the questioning you.
Okay,
Uh,
so you may start your first question.
okay. My first question is, how do you insecure that your work as engineer address to the ethical principles outlined in the BM Code of Professional Conduct?
So for the first question about the ethical principle.
Yes.
So as an engineer, I ensure that my work address to be follow the BM code of professional conduct by familiarizing myself with the code and following its guidelines in my working design. So when we mentions about the BM codes, so it includes with integrity, honesty and fairness, which is upholding the safety, health and welfare of the public. I also seek guidance from my colleges or superiors in my any questions or concerns about my works. So is that clear for you?
Okay. My second question is, can you give an example of situation which you have make a difficult ethical decision in your work as engineer, and how did you handle it?
Difficulty in ethical decision in working in daily life lah, you mean that, right?
Yes.
So if I would like to give one example of the situation. So the situation is which I had to make a difficult ethical decision in my work as an engineer was when I was asked to cut corners on a design to my tight deadlines. So which is I have one project, which is one project to I have ended in 1 week only. So which is the time is not too long, so I have to finish my job earlier than that because the deadlines was 1 week. So this would have a compromise the safety and reliability of the product, and I know that this was not in line with the BUM code of operational conduct. I approached my supervisor and explained my concerns, and together we found a solution that met the deadline, while still adhering to the ethical principle and ensuring the safety of the products.
Okay. How do you ensure that safety of your clients and colleges is the top priority in your work as an engineer?
So about the safety of the clients and the colleges. So for me to ensure the safety of my clients and colleges, I prioritize safety in all aspects of my works. This includes following safety protocols and guidelines, being diligent in identifying and addressing potential hazards, and ensuring that all equipment and materials are properly maintained and used safely. I'll also make sure to stay informed about the safety regulation and guidelines that may be relevant to my work.
Okay. How do you handle conflict of interest that may arise in your work as an engineer?
So about conflict may be, this depends on ourselves how to manage the conflicts. So for me, if a conflict of interest arises in my work as an engineer, I disclose the conflict to my supervisor or relevant parties and follow the guidance on to handle the situation. In some of the example of case, this may involve recusing myself from certain tasks or decision to ensure that my judgment is not compromised. So it will back to your decision making, how you gonna solve the conflicts.
Okay. My final question is, how do you ensure that you maintain objectivity and impartiality in your work as an engineer?
So about the how to maintain the objectivity, right?
Yes.
So to maintain the objectivities, especially in my work as an engineer, I strive to base my decision and actions on facts and objective criteria rather than personal bias or preference. I'll also make sure to consider all relevant perspectives and viewpoints when making a decision, and seek out of additional information as expertise as needed. So, other question?
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Hello, sir. Muhammad Akmal Ikman.
Yes.
My question is, how do you handle the situation in which you may be asked to compromise your professional integrity or ethical principles in your work as an engineer?
So, how to compromise your professional integrity, right? So, to compromise professional integrity, I will first try to address the issue with my supervisor or relevant parties. If the issue cannot be resolved at this level, I will consider seeking guidance from a professional ethics body or legal counsel. Ultimately, I will prioritize upholding my ethical principle and professional integrity over another consideration.
My second question, how do you keep yourself up to date with the latest ethical guideline and regulation in the engineering profession?
For me to stay up to date with the latest ethical guidelines and regulation in professions, I regularly review relevant professional organization, for example, code of conduct, and keep abreast of my updates and changes. I also attend industry conference and workshop and seek opportunity for continuing education and professional development.
For my third question, how do you handle the situation in which you witness unethical behavior in the workplace as an engineer?
So it will be depends on the nature of the behavior. So it will be like it will be touched on your behavior lah. So I may also consider speaking to the individual involved or seeking guidance from a personal ethic body. If I witness unethical behavior in a workplace as an engineer, I will report the behavior to my supervisor of the appropriate authorities.
Understood. My fourth, how do you ensure that you respect the intellectual property and proprietary information of others in your work as an engineer?
So for me, about the respect in the properties and proprietary information of other as an engineer, I will make sure myself and with a relevant law of regulation, which is I have followed the regulation and laws. So I follow my company policies, which is company policies is very important in every industry lah. As a workers, an engineer or what else, so we need to follow the company policies and aware to the rules. Thanks.
Understood. My last, can you provide an example of a time when you had to act with transparency and honesty in your work as an engineer? That's my last question.
So about the example of being honesty, as a work in engineer.
Yep.
So I would like to give an example, which is I have to act with the transparency and honesty in my work as engineer was when I was make a mistake on a project, which is I have one project, and then I make a mistake about the projects. So rather than trying to cover up the mistakes, I immediately informed my supervisor and proposed a solution to fix the issue. By being open and honest about the mistake, I also able to address the problem properly and maintain the trust of my team and the client. So every problem that you have, so we need to solve it. No matter what the methods, but surely you as an engineer, you need to think wisely and find a solution probably to make a problem can be solved. So I think that's all from me about the question.
Okay, sir, thank you for your time. Have a good night, sir. Sorry for bothering you. And that's all for us. Bye bye, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your cooperation.
All right.